Mini Jake, the tribe has spoken.
Fuck you, Kevin.
Aw, fuck you too, sweetie.
I'm JJ, one of the original Tribe of Nerds members. You can catch me on Marvel, Pokemon, and other gaming podcasts.
What up? It's Josh, resident superhero nerd, but I also dabble in the occasional super villain as well.
Some may know me as the Chaos Gremlin, but really I'm just Joe King.
Pikachu, use Volt Tackle! Good job, Pikachu!
On the Tribe of Nerds. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Shane and I are here for something really special to go with our Survivor 1 through 50 series. We're going to be doing a special side series companion piece because in this vast multiverse, we're going to ponder the question of what if. These vast, many possibilities in Survivor history that could change like that if one thing were to be different. So, we're going to ponder that question of what if. So, Shane, what do you think? How do you think this is going to go?
I'm really excited about this series because for me, like, one of the beauties of Survivor is the social strategic decision making. And there have been so many decisions people have made that could have gone either way, and that could have led to completely different outcomes for the season. But then, as we know, Survivor, there's so many returning player seasons that if that season changes, whole history of Survivor changes. So I'm really excited, and like in real life, I'm a scientist, so I love experimenting, and I feel like this is basically a big experiment where we change a couple variables and see what happens with the history of the show. So we'll definitely see where that goes. And I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss with this first one because season 1 was so transformational. Yep. And the topic we're going to discuss here literally could make the show a completely different show.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. The what if scenario we have for this first episode, all about Survivor Borneo, is what if when Hatch tried to propose the alliance to Sue and Kelly and Rudy, they all said no and refused to make an alliance with Richard Hatch. So lots of stuff.
I mean, with this one, like literally when the show came out, nobody knew what it was going to be. Like, I mean, I got into it because my dad thought it was going to be like a wilderness survival show because that's what he's into. And when you rewatch it, from your rewatch, you see like a lot of the confessionals and the focus is about surviving, not about like playing a game like it is now. Hatch coming in and like seeing it as a game rather than like a survival scenario was so transformational, and that like you saw that go in season 2 and then gradually build up to the point where I would argue season 5 was really the one that was like, this is actually just a game now.
Yeah.
But if this doesn't happen, is it just a survival show? And like, does it last 48 seasons and counting?
No, I think it definitely ends way sooner because you're not going to get like a hyper strategic winner. I think very often, I mean, for as long as Survivor ends up lasting in that case. I mean, Hatch was already pissing people off, annoying people, like in the first episode, like his conversation with Sue, and like he was one of the people on the chopping block. And then just so happened that Rudy pissed off the women more, and Sonia was a weak player in the challenges. So it just ended up saving him, and then Stacy annoyed people as well. So
right, yeah, I think if Hatch doesn't have his alliance, he's likely gone pre-merge, honestly.
Yeah,
and if he somehow makes it to the merge, I feel like he's one of the first boots at the merge just because he annoyed people. And as we saw with the vote being for Gretchen 4-1-1-1-1-1, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
if there was no alliance, is it literally like 1-1-1-1-1, and then like Hatch somehow gets another stray and goes home there? One other possibility though is if, let's say, he doesn't have his alliance, he somehow makes the merge. Does he try to make an alliance with the Pagongs instead? And I don't know that anyone would go with it, although Gretchen might, because she seemed like she had a lot of strategic chops. And maybe we see Hatch and some Pagongs go to the end in their alliance. But the thing is, we saw everyone sticks with their original tribes. They're going to knock him off at Final Four if it's 4 people.
Yeah, I think the most likely scenario, so the 2 scenarios I think is he goes in the Dirk spot, like 5th boot, because the alliance doesn't exist, so they take out Hatch there instead of Dirk or Sean. The other scenario is he does make the merge, and since he doesn't have an alliance with Tagi, he tries going over to Greg, because him and Greg had a relationship. So maybe him and Greg actually do try to work together and say, hey, we really bonded, and like, let's try to take this and work together, and we don't have to be like bound, constrained to like our tribes. We can try to like move around. So
yeah, no, that's definitely very possible. I think regardless though, he's not the winner of the season. Like,
no.
Hatch will not win. He will not become a household name. He won't be like known as being like the Survivor person. Because when most people think of Survivor, they think Richard Hatch. Like, everybody knows that name, whether you watch the show or not.
Right.
So that changes for sure. And I think with future seasons, like, I think Australia changes because you could see the influence right away with Colby, Tina, and Keith having this strong alliance. That's not going to happen anymore.
No.
So I think Australia becomes a lot less exciting of a season, although I still think it will be as close to what it was because there were some really good casting choices there. I still think the alliance will happen. It's just going to happen later on. One possibility is Africa could be, because I think Lex, regardless of Hatch doing it or not, would have came up with it on his own. So maybe Africa's the first time we see it. And Lex really is this like originator of the alliance. And when you think of Survivor, you think of Lex.
Mm-hmm.
And if that happens, maybe he ends up winning because they kind of had in the back of their minds, like, oh, Hatch had the strategic idea and then won the game. If Hatch doesn't win the game, maybe no one's looking at Lex as being a threat because they're still like, oh yeah, it's likability and everything. And Ethan's really likable, so Kim votes out Ethan instead of Lex, and there's Lex winning the game.
Yeah, I think that could very well happen in this alternate universe. So I think with it happening, the end result of Borneo is probably Gretchen or Greg winning. I'd say probably Gretchen in that case. So, but should be interesting. This was a great start to the What If series. So if you want more, definitely tune in, and we will be back for another alternate universe next time on the Tribe of Nerds Survivor What If.